Welcome to this Kelly Writers House webcast of a conversation and poetry reading with Adin called Poems from a Sinking City. I'm Simon Richter, professor of German at the University of Pennsylvania. Adin and I cannot see you, but we're going to borrow a concept from Benedict Anderson and imagine a community with people from Indonesia, from the Netherlands, and from Kampung Indonesia right here in Philadelphia. This reading is part of Climate Week at Penn, a robust program of 47 unique events, each seeking to raise climate awareness and to motivate action. I'll put the link to the Climate Week website in the chat shortly. The city in question is Semarang, on the northern central coast of Java. Like Philadelphia, Semarang was founded some 400 years ago during the colonial era and has a population of similar size. Semarang is a delta city built in part on alluvial sand. It is those parts of the city, residential, commercial, and industrial, that are subsiding or sinking at rates faster than sea level rise. The city is not standing idly by. Semarang is working with numerous national and international agencies to increase climate resilience, protect populations, and preserve heritage. That is how I met Adin some 2 years ago. We were both involved with a Dutch-sponsored program called Water as Leverage for Resilient Cities. He, as the director of Kolektif Hysteria, an artists collective known for its collaborative work with kampungs, and I, as what I call an embedded humanist. Adin, welcome. It's really good to see you.
Hi. Nice to meet you all. It is my honor to be part of this great festival at Pennsylvania University. Hi,
Adin,
Simon.
hey, great to see you. We're going to jump right into this so that we'll have some time at the end for questions from our audience. So as I mentioned, you live in Semarang on the northern coast of central Java. What else should we know about Semarang?
I think Semarang is the capital city of Central Java. So we have so many population in here and also many youngsters that live here because they study in many universities. There is like a 60 university in here. And also now we're facing, because of the climate change, we're facing land subsidence every year, almost 15 centimeter per year at the worst case in some certain area. And also Semarang is famous with the industrial city. So in terms of cultural activity, we kind of like not much cultural activity. So for me as an artist, it's like a drying city. I mean, you need to be creative and very have a good motive to do art thing. And also because now I'm teaching at the anthropological department, so I make many connection with the kampung in here and also people that live here, so we can try to uh, participate in the urban planning in the future.
That's right. You mentioned that Semarang is an industrial city and not exactly known for being a cultural center. It's kind of between Yogyakarta and Jakarta, both places with lots and lots of cultural activity. But it seems to me that Kolektif Hysteria has taken up that challenge and made the conditions in Semarang part of your artistic process. So you're the director of Kolektif Hysteria, which is a coalition of artists, anthropologists, and activists. And you've become a considerable cultural force in Semarang. Can you tell us about the work that you and the Kolektif Hysteria do with kampungs, and also explain to Philadelphia listeners what a kampung is?
So Kampung is a small unit at the society. So we have a district, region, and city, but the small unit at the city level is Kampung. So Kampung sometimes it consists like maybe 300 people that live there. but it's always depend on the kampung itself. So people that live in the kampung usually are like in the one root. I mean, their relative and also brother, like sister, and so on. So actually, the kampung itself it's the name for sociological divide. I mean, like this is not legal institution, but it's more sociological term.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's because this kampung is small unit for the society. So we deal with that because we want to make a project that will attach them to the place itself. Because in city now we're facing many people that migrate from a rural area to urban area like in Semarang. And because of that, we believe that in the future there is uh, contestation about land ownership and the vulnerable people. I think most of them live in kampung. So
Yeah.
we believe that city right, it's everyone have a right to the city. So I think to elevate the capacity, we need to work with them to do more advocating project or something like that to make them more participate in the urban planning in the future. So
Right.
yeah,
But Adid, that's where your work with Kolektif Hysteria really
yeah,
makes a huge contribution, because the way that you do that is through culture and the arts. So Kolektif Hysteria has been around now for 16 years, I think, and
yeah.
you've worked with quite a few kampungs. Tell us about your process. How does the collective work with kampung?
Yeah, actually, we do like an ethnographic project because my basic education is anthropology. So we are being engaged with the kampung, make some uh, engagement and also get their trust. And then because of that, they they believe in us, and then we grab many daily activity and also daily story that related with the collective memory, because we believe that if we want to rise their solidarity, we need something tool story or artifact that connecting each other because they share the common story. We call this like a vernacularism or collective memory, because if we achieve that, it is more easier to get people more support us, because when we do something, it's becoming part of their story or their history. That's how we work. And after that, after we collecting all this data, information, artifact, and also folklore or something like that, and then we transform it into art project. Sometimes performances, sometimes installation, sometimes video art, sometimes photo, sometimes mural. Everything that's, I think it's we choose art because art is the easier way to communicate with the people. Because if we talk about what your problem, and then suddenly the comes up is always problem, problem, and problem, people getting bored and and becoming more frustrated because every day it's problem in city, I think. So the first thing I think is to make them more cheerful, and then make have a positive thinking to do something, and then make them more happy. And after that, we suddenly realize that to improving our uh, happiness, we facing many problem. So we talk about problem later. Before of that, we talk about the happiness and how to using art to gathering people and and doing festival and gathering around. And then after that, we identify the problem. So yeah, actually we talk about problem, but it's later.
With
We
it, yeah,
believe that, yeah. That's our
yes.
strategy.
Right. It's a brilliant strategy. I love the idea of the festival. And I mean, what comes to mind, given all the different art forms that you use and how collaborative it is, it's a sort of Kampung Gesamtkunstwerk, if I could,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
graft a German art concept onto it. So
Yeah,
you mentioned the kampungs that you worked with, not by name, but one of them is Kemijen.
yeah,
And the 6 poems that you're going to read to us today all have the title of Kemijen. And Kemijen refers to a low-lying district in Semarang, near the
yeah,
coast and near those industrial areas that has increasingly had to deal with 2 kinds of flooding. And it's really important to
yeah,
distinguish between these, right? There's Banjir and there's Rob.
yeah, yeah,
Banjir
yeah.
is flooding the way we're accustomed to it. What is Rob in Semarang?
Rob is tidal waves. I don't know how.
I think it's
Rob,
called,
Rob,
it's called coastal tidal flooding. And so when
tidal
there's high
flooding.
tide, the tide washes into the subsiding areas. And
Yeah,
sometimes the tide is higher than at other times, and that
yeah,
can be a really chronic and huge problem.
yeah, yeah,
Anyway, I thought it would be really useful for our audience if they could just get a quick visual sense of how watery Kemijen is. And since Hysteria created a video, a 6-minute video, I'm only going to show 2.5 minutes, but a 6-minute
yeah,
video about the art project that you did in Kemijen, I think that's a perfect way to show our audience what Kampung Kemijen actually looks like. So if you'll bear with me for a moment, I'm going to share screen and show everybody 2 minutes of this wonderful video.
Kemijen menjadi penting buat kami karena selain sebagai salah satu jaringan 9 kampung yang kemudian berjaring dengan kampung-kampung yang lain, Kemijen memiliki struktur sejarah yang cukup menarik. Dari 11 RW dan 83 RT tersebut kita bisa meraup banyak informasi yang tidak benar-benar dianggap sejarah utama atau peninggalan yang penting untuk kadar masyarakat setempat.
We're all one, you know? We're all made of the same stuff.
Kaleb sebagai salah satu festival yang diinisiasi oleh Hysteria merupakan bentukan nyata dari usaha Hysteria untuk mempertemukan beberapa lembaga yang berbeda, stakeholder yang berbeda dari kampus, kampung, kemudian ada komunitas dan beberapa stakeholder yang lain untuk kemudian secara bersama berbicara tentang isu yang sejenis dari sudut pandang yang berbeda.
Wes ngomong, Pak.
ngomong. Wih,
Kenapa Kemijen? Karena memang selain dia memiliki keunikan permasalahan secara geografis, tapi juga Kemijen memiliki kapasitas ketahanan masyarakat yang cukup. Kita bingung bagaimana masyarakat kemudian bisa bertahan dengan kondisi seperti itu. Selain bahwa dia menghadapi permasalahan banjir, dia juga mengalami permasalahan rob, dia juga mengalami permasalahan ekonomi juga nggak lebih baik.
All right, let me stop that share for a moment. There we go. Though I'm going to have to start sharing again in just a second as well. Anyway, it was great to see Semarang and to see Kemijen there. Anything that you want to highlight? It looks like that was created in 2016. Is that around the time that you wrote the poems?
Yes, yes, of course. Yeah, I write this poem because I think there is sameness between the poetry that I write before and the kampung condition. I mean, I know I don't know because in my term, I am often write a poem because we have like a void in our chest or like a sorrowness or yeah, I don't know, it's like a something that's more tragic or something like that. And I think kampung because they are vulnerable and also many poor people live there and sometimes people like I mean not government not really care about of that. I mean yeah, that's for me it's like they have sadness for this situation and then that's triggering me to write this poetry because yeah I told you before that I often write poetry because I feeling sad empty or I don't know it's like the sameness of fate between when I created poetry and also the kampung condition and I
Yeah.
saw many people were struggling there, and the poverty and also the crowd of the kampung because very dense in that area, and also the trash and how people using trash to covering the swamp, and then after that they built house because the swamp becoming solid because of trash and that's becoming some of our evaluation about what happened in here and then I come up with idea that the water will asking their home because people using this swamp and then transform it into houses and something like that. I think yeah, we make a personification about the water itself and then this our connection between people and nature and also the government policy and the people live there and all this dilemma and also the problem mixing in my mind and yeah that's how this idea comes becoming poetry.
Okay, I think people will sense that the sadness that's there, but also the resilience that is there. And the analogy between you and the kampung, that you and the kampung somehow feel for each other, that comes through quite strongly too. All right, I think we should go ahead and do the reading. Let me mention that there are 6 poems and we'll show you the text on the screen and Adin will read it in Bahasa Indonesia and then I will provide a translation. And I'd like to acknowledge that I was helped in the translation by Liam Tumas, who I hope is listening. And then after we've done that, I'll ask a few questions and then we'll open it up for anyone in the audience who would like to ask questions as well. All right, so once again, I'm going to have to share screen. And this time we will do it like this. Okay,
Okay.
Adin, go ahead.
Okay. Kemijen 1. Poems from a Sinking City. Kenangan orang pada air di Kemijen, para tetua mengingat kapan siklus banjir dan kedatangan rob yang pertama. Hari ini, siklus air seperti kutukan Sisyphus. Diesel dan pompa menyedot air dari gorong-gorong supaya turut dilimpahkan ke kali. Kali yang meluap mengirim balik ke gorong-gorong terbaca seperti pekerjaan sia-sia, bukan? Tapi begitulah, harapan harus tetap dinyalakan seperti mesin pompa. Juga jantung yang berdetak mengantar darah. Doa sebetapapun letih mesti dipanjatkan.
Kemijen 1. Memories of people in the water in Kemijen. The elders remember the rhythms of the flood cycle and the arrival of the first rob. Today, the water cycle is like the curse of Sisyphus. Diesel pumps suck water from the sewers so that the tide can be poured into the river. Overflowing rivers return water to the sewers. Sounds like fruitless labor, doesn't it? But that is how hope must be maintained, like a pump, like a heart that beats, delivering blood. A prayer, despite exhaustion, must be said.
Kemijen 2. Jembatan tenggelam, rumah amblas, kata mudah berbisa, dan lambung kita lekas terbakar. Di Kemijen, orang-orang membentengi diri dengan tanggul, mesin pompa, dan harapan. Tetua dan pemuda berjaga bersama ingatan, kalau-kalau kampung tenggelam dan orang telah siaga diungsikan. Salah jika kau kira di sini tak ada cinta. Anak kecil berlarian bermata cahaya. Rob belum mengaratkan jiwa, tapi umpatan-umpatan orang dewasa laten bahaya. Jika keadaan dibiar saja menahun. Orang-orang menolak kalah, tanggul ditinggikan, air ditawu, anak-anak dikirim ke sekolah. Kelak mereka akan paham, ini tak pernah Kemijen semata.
Kemijen 2. The bridge sank. The house collapsed. Words are poisonous and our guts are twisted. In Kemijen, people reinforce themselves with levees, pumps, and hope. Elders and youths stand guard with memories. In case the kampung sinks and people have to retreat. You are wrong if you think there is no love here. Small children running around with shining eyes. Rob has not rusted the soul, but the curses of adults in name are dangerous. If the situation is left to itself, chronic. People refuse to lose. Embankments are elevated. Water is bailed. Children go to school. Later, they will understand. This is never merely Kemijen.
Kemijen 3. Orang-orang menghalau air, mencipta petak demi petak rumah. Ia dulu yang bernama rawa-rawa. Kini air meminta tubuhnya kembali. Dikirimnya laut memamah tanah. Orang-orang lagi-lagi menghalau air, beradu dengan kecepatan rentesan laut. Tapi kamu paham, ada garam yang dikirim bersama banyu, membuat masa solid mudah berkarat, persaudaraan ditimbang. Orang-orang bersengketa tentang batas, yang kalah ditelan tangan. Seperti galib kita saksikan di pesisir utara kota. Memang ada 1001 cara atasi kota. Ketiadaan niat baik jadi sia-sia. Kita meyakinkan diri ada asa, pun asalnya dari Pandora. Sementara itu, orang-orang tetap setia menghalau air dan merawat harapan adalah satu-satunya.
Kemijen 3. People drain water, creating houses, plot by plot. They used to be called swamps. Now the water wants its body back. Sent the sea to touch the land. People expel the water again, overtaken by the speed of the seeping sea. But you understand, with the seawater comes salt, making solid mass susceptible to rust. Brotherhood is put to the test again. People quarrel over locations. The losers are swallowed by the ground, as we so often see on the north coast of the city. There are indeed 1,001 ways to overwhelm the city. The absence of good intentions. It's pointless. We convince ourselves there is hope, also hope we owe to Pandora. Meanwhile, people continue to dispel water, and caring for hope is our only entertainment.
Kemijen 4. Jiwaku mampet, seluruh tubuh tergenang olehmu berhari-hari. Kita ingin diselamatkan seperti polder yang dijanjikan sepanjang Kalibangan. Penantian jadi sepanjang rel terbentang seantero Pulau Jawa. Banyak usaha dicoba bermuara pada kemarahan. Selalu laut, oh laut. Seharusnya ia jadi tempat berpulang air-air, tapi tidak. Ia mengirim garam kembali ke darat, membuat perih hari-hari.
Kemijen 4. My soul is blocked, my whole body inundated by you for days now. We want to be saved by a polder like the one promised for the Bangar River. The wait extends for as long as the train tracks, stretching across the island of Java. Endless effort. It boils down to anger, always. Sea, oh sea, that's where flood waters should go to die. But no, it sends salt water back ashore, adding to agony daily.
Kemijen 5. Dan dari air kami jadikan segala sesuatu yang hidup. Sudah diwanti-wanti pada kita, barangkali perasaan juga terbuat dari air. Pun hati yang konon segumpal darah semula adalah jenis air yang mengalir di pompa jantung menuju tepi-tepi pantai. Ada kalanya ia menguasai kepala kita, mengubah pagi jadi senja, hitam putih jadi warna. Selalu begitu, berubah-ubah karena ia juga hidup, menghidup-hidupi jiwa.
Kemijen 5. And from the water, we make everything that lives. We have already lived this reminder. Perhaps feelings are also made of water. Even the heart, which is said to have started as a blood clot, was a kind of flowing water pumping toward the shores of your body. Sometimes it controls our heads, turns morning into dusk, black and white give way to color. It's always like that, metamorphoses, because it also lives to enliven the soul.
Kemijen 6. Kuberitahu kamu di musim yang serba basah, hujan adalah tengara berpulangnya kecemasan. Pompa dikontrol, listrik dicek, dan orang-orang siaga. Bau tanah absen, kangen absen, dan sebagai gantinya telinga dan mata dibuka lebar. Hidup terlalu apa adanya. Air yang tinggi adalah air yang tinggi. Mungkin anak-anak yang paling senang karena barangkali besok hari menjadi merah. Sekolah pun tutup, dan mereka bisa belajar bermain perahu dan mengobati kesedihan atau nasib buruk. Kuberitahu kamu di musim yang serba salah, di sini orang lebih karib dengan kenyataan daripada seluruh lagu pemuja-puja.
Kemijen 6. I'm telling you, in the wet season, rain is a landmark for the return of our cares. Pump maintenance, check. Electricity, check. People are on standby. The smell of absent ground, the absence of absence, and instead ears and eyes are open wide. Life is what it is. High water is high water. Perhaps children are the happiest, because maybe tomorrow schools will close and they can learn to play boat and heal their sadness or bad luck. I'm telling you, in the wet season, people here are closer to reality than any hymn to rain. All right. I've read this cycle so many times that it still gives me goosebumps every time. It's really incredible. I want to ask you a few questions, and we're perfectly on time, so this is all going to work out really, really fine. Ask you a few questions, and then I'll open it up to questions from the audience. Let me start it in with a question that's more formal. Everyone will have noticed that you've chosen to put these poems into what looks like paragraph form, which is pretty unconventional. Why did you do that?
Sorry,
Oh,
with the pump.
no, the paragraph form, the form of the poems.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. That's my. I like this form since maybe like since 2011 or 13. I don't remember, but I like this because I don't really think to make a more paragraph. It's like a more like a narrative than like a poetry that usual. So that's why I choose to being the forms like narration of the short stories or something like that, not like paragraph by paragraph like a usual poetry.
Yeah. Isn't there also a sort of an ethnographic or an anthropological aspect to that as well?
uh, in terms of how to tell story, I think yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Every time I read these poems, I have a sort of a double feeling. On the one hand, I have like this huge respect for the people and for their resilience. And since I know some of these folks, I mean, I really feel it. And at the same time, I get such a strong sense of their exhaustion and your exhaustion because of the constant struggle to expel the water and to keep Kemijen dry and to keep the community together. Can you, what was it like for you at that time to be working in Kemijen?
Before the Porter Banger, before they built Porter Banger, they facing everyday threat. Like in the wet season, they have flood, and the dry season they have flood tides or rob. So it's almost every day they're facing water problem, and it's very sad because so many approach to deal with the problem, but not touching the real problem before of the festival, and also before we gathering people to talk about this. Many people in Kemijen being frustrated because of this condition, because many approach to solve the problem. It's only to beautify this kampung itself, but not the real problem. They want to make this Porter Banger becoming real. So their hope to make this Porter Banger can be work is like our hope, because we want to be us we want to be like there is salvation, or we want to be people will save us, like we adore the Messiah, we adore the chosen one, and then and helping us. It's like they really want to this Porter Banger becoming happen, and this festival we try to invite the mayor of the city, and he attended the festival, and after that he commit to make the Porter Banger more clear and to be finished at that moment. So
Yeah.
that's, I think it's gonna be like one of our result to make this festival, because before of before that people want to demonstrate to the city hall, and we hold the people. Wait, we maybe we try another way before you get angry and then shouting the mayor of the city. Maybe we can try another way to make this happen, and then communicate with the mayor of the city, and it's happened.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, you're referencing a history here that I think we should fill in a little bit for the audience, and maybe also clarify what a polder is, right? A polder is when you build dikes or basically enclose a territory and shut it off from water from outside, and you maintain an artificial water table or water level. And at the time in 2016, when you were and Hysteria were working in Kemijen, there had been plans to turn Kemijen into a polder, or to turn the Bunger area into a polder. But it had been going on for something like 6 years already, and there
Yeah,
still was no progress.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
right?
That make people frustrated.
Yeah, exactly. And so you reference in Kemijen 4, you reference the desire to be saved by a polder. And that is
Yeah,
incidentally the only Dutch word in your poem, as in your poems, as far as I can tell, right? But it's also an Indonesian word, polder, in the meantime, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So it was eventually completed. I think in 2018 or so, it was completed. And now, in fact, people do have kaki kering, right? Dry
yeah,
feet.
yeah,
I
yeah,
want to go back though a little bit because I want to show two pictures, or actually three pictures. I want to pick up on the pump because every polder has a pump. But there were pumps in Kemijen before the big pumps were installed when the polder was created. And the word pump, or the idea of a pump, keeps coming up in your poems. You talk about the
yeah.
heart and
Yes,
about
yes.
people manning the pumps and all of that sort of thing. So I want to show, I'll share screen again. I want to show two images, and then I'll ask you to talk about them, okay?
Okay.
So I have to go back to sharing screen. And we'll go to the PowerPoint, and let me show this. This is a mural that is in Kemijen.
Yeah.
Tell us about this mural.
Yeah, this mural inspired by the palm itself. So because they want to make this palm like a dog, you know, the dog capacity to take care of people and take care of self. I mean, becoming our companion, not only pet but also companion. So the palm is becoming our companion in terms of Kemijen. We'll take care of ourselves and also to avoiding this flood. And before the big pump already built, people gathering money and then try to buy the pump like this. This is initiated by the people that live there. And yeah, the pump thing is becoming the important part of the daily life in Kemijen. So when I tried to offering this idea to the designer and also the mural artist, he responded, Dina Prasetyawan, his name, and then make this pump becoming this logo of the festival. And also my friend, the mural artist, creating mural about the palm itself, and then becoming the metaphor of the dog that will wash ourselves. But this is a little bit tricky because I mean, uh, in the Muslim area, dog is not common. I mean, the majority of these people in the region is Muslim, but we deal with that. But okay, it's okay. The idea is good too. Even in their religion, it's different concept, but they they can accept it. So I think in terms of tolerance, and
Yep.
also people being respect each other, art can be bound and can be denaturalize this extremist thing or something like that. So yeah, with art we can create many things and also to elaborate many idea that's normally confronted each other and becoming bland, and then we can talk about another possibility the, for the new idea and the new connectivity.
It is so brilliant. It's brilliant in your poems, it's brilliant in the mural, and it's just brilliant as a sort of, I guess, anthropological insight, right? That this sort of pump pet that you're ambivalent about, or that the community is ambivalent about, it needs it, it gathers around it, it actually helps to create community. As I understand it through your work and with Hysteria, in Kemijen, and also, through these community efforts to create small local pumps that at least relieved, the residents somewhat, you created a sort of community resilience that was very, very important. I'm going to move on to the pump house. This is the pump house now. So that replaced the small local pumps, and now that's the only pump that is necessary, and it expels floodwaters that gather from the upland, and the dike that is connected with it keeps the tidal flooding out of Kemijen. We should note, of course, that Kemijen continues to subside, and so there is a time factor here. The polder will hold things off for a while, but just as in the rest of the world where other coastal cities are combating or preparing to deal with or already dealing with sea level rise, this is a problem that has been deferred but will come back. I want to mention too, of course, that this is the backside of the pump where it was sort of the inauguration of the pump, and you'll see here headlines in both Indonesian and in Dutch, because this was a Dutch-Indonesian cooperation to create the polder banger and the pump house and the pumps. Okay, let me stop that for a moment. And here we are again. All right. Okay, I think, let me ask one more question and then we'll open it up. We're perfect on time. What I would like to ask you is this. The pump house, or the pump came, polder bunger was created. People are not having to deal with tidal flooding, which is that chronic flooding that happened almost every day. And so things have improved a great deal. But, that of course changes, I guess, the community dynamics somewhat. So what would you say now from the perspective of 2020, has the effect of the creation of polder bunger been on the communities, the kampungs in that area?
Yes, of course. But now you mentioned it before. Now they have dry feed, and also the trash is become the big problem now, because after the river becoming dry, and then so many trash come up, because actually this trash covered by water before, and now suddenly happened, the people can see it, and they're facing that, and also they're facing like a dynamic of the community itself. I mean, social thing or human, it's always dynamic, and sometimes becoming not active anymore, or being passive, because the lack of the trust of the people in there. I mean, there is so many money after that. I mean, so many grant to the people that live there to increasing their capacity and their life. And because money is always, sometimes it's a gift, sometimes it's a curse. I mean, and they deal with that, and now we try to make this more settled, but it's little bit hard, because people try to, I mean, not trust each other because of the money, in terms of money, but not of that all. I mean, and we have a problem like the right of the house, like a affordable house, because they they have like many swamp, and they put the trash in the swamp until the swamp becoming solid and then building the house. But we believe that some of this swamp uh, it's good to still be swamp, not the house. And government have a situation that they cannot just kick them out for the sites, because it's sometimes it's becoming more complex because the political agenda, I mean in terms of political party
Yeah.
that's using it to raising the sentiment to the government or to the certain party in the area. So the negotiation sometimes it's more harder now, because yeah, people want to build a house, but but this house is in the swamp and it's not good for the future, and people try to struggling, and government try to convince people that we need to make this becoming swamp again, but there is no solution about the affordable house or something like that. That's we dealing now. And and yeah, distrust it sometimes comes up in terms of the negotiation process and among this community. And yeah, we need to, there is many homework after that. I mean, yeah, it's always like that. We have a problem and then being solved, and then another problem will come, and then yeah.
Yeah, these are the challenges, the urban challenges that have been multiplied and magnified by climate change, right? Whether it's
Yep.
extreme weather, heat, rain, and sea level rise, and then combined with subsidence, which of course is not exclusive to Semarang and Jakarta. You have
Yep.
Semarang in many cities around the world and in the United States as well. We got a few questions here, so I'm going to put them to you. One person said that she really loved the frequent presence of children I guess, in the movie, but also in your poems. So could you talk about, I guess, the importance of children in the work that Kolektif Hysteria does, and maybe in connection with Kampung Resilience?
Yeah, we saw that's these children becoming our future hope, and we want to educate them that it is always part of the city problem. I mean, this is not the only problem that you facing in the future. I mean, this is the problem of the city. So we want to educate them that you're part of the city, not only the kampung itself. And if you're part of the city, you must take care about the city itself. That's a little bit utopia, but we need to give the vision for the children that live there, because they, in terms of difficulty and also stresses that happen everyday life, we can see children still playing around, and then uh, being innocent and everything is good, and we can see that the adults becoming tired and stressful, but when we see the children, and then still there is hope in the future. So we want to build something that's better in the future, not only in terms of our condition now, but also for the children.
Yeah.
That's why I see the future in the eyes of the children.
Yeah.
That we can agree about that.
Yeah, great. Another question concerns health, I guess, physical health. And so especially in the period before the polder was built, what sort of health stressors were there that people had to deal with in the kampung?
Yeah, of course, like a dengue fever,
Yep.
and also the disease for the skin, and also what do you call it, like the stomach problem, because you consume and sometimes not healthy, in the healthy condition. It's happened there. And yeah, it's danger favor. It's dangerous too. But the big loss is about people try to like uh, put the I mean make the houses more higher than the water. I mean, government often comes with the idea to build the road and make the road becoming higher because they want this road to become available for the vehicle, and also people can uh, uh, traveling, or I mean not traveling, like mobilizing people through the road. But the victim is the houses uh, that's nearby the road, because when the flood comes and the water will go to directly in this house, and then people need to make this house more higher and higher and higher, and the cost is very very expensive. And if you're poor people and then your house becoming sinking, I mean you can see the distance between the roof and the floor, or the roof and the road is very very low, like one of the house like 1 meter or 1.5 meter. And when we go deep into the house, it's like we go to the cave. Yeah, then sadly if you're poor in the area, and then your house, it's really really sinking is not metaphor, but really really sinking, because yeah, because everyone will try to compete uh, uh, in that area to make this house more higher than the neighbor, and
Yes,
something, and also the road.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was one of the first things that really struck me in Kemijen, was precisely. There were some places where the house had sunk as much as a meter below the raised street level. So you actually had to like step way down into the house. And of course, when there's heavy rains, those places get flooded. There's
Yeah.
another question. Who was the audience? Who was your sort of implied reader for your poem, the poem cycle, Kemijen? And who was the audience for the mural?
Oh, of course, because it's this part of this festival, so we invite as many as we can. People come to the kampung. So actually, art, especially poetry, sometimes we have very limited people that will hear about this poetry. But in terms of the festival, you can read it and also communicate with the crowd that's already come to this kampung. So the arts becoming good uh, to deliver the message about the real problem. So I think arts will not be changing society if they cannot attract many people in terms of to make a movement together. So we can do movement by using sport and many things. But because our background is artists, and then we are using art to create this. And art itself, I think, is not enough. So in this case, we have many collaborator from university like Unisula University that's very concerned with this city issue, and also Diponegoro University and many university in Semarang, and also another researcher from Surakarta, Jakarta, and many cities. So we bring all this in that kampung level, and then talk about the small thing that related with the city situation. So it's very anthropological approach. I mean, you tell about smaller thing, but in the abstract, you can talk about the big thing, like the city itself.
Brilliant. I've seen you at work, and you are a master coalition builder. I have endless
Thank you,
admiration
Simon.
for what you do. Let's see, we have a couple of minutes left. How is Kolektif Hysteria doing now? You are also in the midst of COVID-19. What's the situation of Hysteria at the moment?
Yeah, Hysteria basically organization that's voluntarily based. Now we're facing, yeah, it's like many other. We have a economical situation because the cost production and also administration and also to operate this uh, office and also people that work with us. But now we try to uh, make this Pentacalypse 3 happen with the issue that I told you about the hujan salah mongso. It's like a rain in the wrong season. We want to, even in this very limited situation and also very stressful condition, we want to make this happen. And now we try to convince the National Gallery uh, to support us to bring all what already done in terms of Kampung network to become exhibition about our work in online platform and also printing the catalog. And also recently, just this, I mean, today, there is a meeting between 12 city and we want to talk about the future of the city in terms of pandemic, and we want to make a small research about what is the impact, and I want to highlight the impact in terms of Kampung network. So we want to make it happen, of course, and also in this situation we try to uh, make another book about the hills. So our project is not only happen in the coastal area but also in the rural area. You've already been there in Rembang, Sekarang. That's a very rural area, and also in the recently we have a project in the hills area. So we want to make the books about that.
Great.
And then spreading this information and also the knowledge that we already gathered with our team.
That's fantastic, Adin. Of course, we wish you lots of success. Hope that these things work out well. I'd like people to know that it's possible to support the work of Adin. If you can get in touch with me about that. Adin, I think we have to wrap it up. It's been exactly an hour now. That has flown past, but we have done everything I think we wanted to do. I love that the poems Kemijen 1 through 6 are out there. They were streaming live. It's been wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much for being a part of Climate Week at Penn.
Thank you, Simon. It's my honor to be part of this great festival.
Okay. And I guess with that, we'll close it out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon. See you next time.